are we on Route 3?
We're going to see my friend Rob Nicolosi, who has the finest pork known to man, called Berkshire pork.
And what are we going to do with this Berkshire pork?
We're going to get this pork and we're going to start processing it when we get back. We'll salt it and we'll press it and get it ready for the next stage, which will be, you know, a long way off. Hey Rob.
Hey Lou, how you doing? The Berkshire pork is one of the oldest heritage breeds, and it has a higher pH and a nice marbling to it, which, you know, it basically has been bred out of the conventional hogs today. So what happened was they wanted to get into a leaner pork, compete with the chicken breast, and so the mass-produced hogs today are lacking flavor and they're lacking bite and taste. One is that it's 2.5, 3 times the price of commodity pork. So typically people will not pay a huge premium for pork because they don't see grades of pork like they do with beef. Beef, you have your choice, your no-roll, your prime, and your selects. With pork, it's always been pork. Fortunately, from the Food Network and people like yourself who love food, and we have that gastronomy that where we just sit down and eat a meal and enjoy it versus just trying to fill our bellies at McDonald's, we've kind of lost appreciation for good quality food. So the Berkshire...
Do they have regulations on how these animals are raised? Do they have special food they give them?
The regulations are up to the individual person raising these hogs. So we mandate that we use all vegetarian feed with soy and corn, which is what is going to give you the best feed for a hog. And there's no animal byproducts in those feeds, which some people do. They're raised on small family farms out in Iowa, which is obviously the center of pork production.
Heart of the pork industry.
Correct.
Can we see your plant?
Absolutely. We'd love to take you down on a tour.
Great.
Excellent.
We keep our coolers about 26 to 32 degrees, and it's very key to keep the pork at a good cold temperature. So when you go to grind it to all our customers, or we're grinding it ourselves, you want to have a good cold piece of pork to keep the bacteria down. Bacteria at 45 degrees, the part per million skyrockets.
45, huh?
45 degrees. And this is our cutting room that we're going to walk into.
Okay.
We actually just installed some panic switches, basically. So God forbid if there's anything that ever happens, you hit this and it calls the police in case there's ever a type of emergency, a terrorist act. We actually have a food defense program now because of, unfortunately, what's happened with the terrorists. Because if somebody contaminates the meat, they can contaminate a lot of people in one shot.
Yeah,
we supply a lot of further processors, you know, and this goes back to 1955, and we supply the deli guys as well as the restaurants and further distributors, the barbecue houses down in Alabama, Georgia, and we even send some product to Philippines and out to California as well.
How about the commercial guys that make Coca-Cola?
We sell all the commercial guys that make Coca-Cola. We hand trim all the products here right on our premises, right to their specs.
I go get it.
Every night we do an hour and a half wash down. We sanitize the tables. We'll run bacteria testing on all our cutting equipment, and we'll do random testing on knives, the employees' hands, floor drains, what have you, to make sure there's no bacteria. It's a total bacteria test. We run that about 3 to 4 times a week. We have the back side, the fat side down. This is where your picnic attaches to the shoulder. You're going to lay it flat, and you're going to find the seam right here on the picnic side of the shoulder. You're going to lay your knife here flat and come right down along the blade bone. It means it's got a nice chill on it, and so we're going to just peel this back. And now you have your CT butt, and then you have your blade bone.
Okay.
Your CT butt is used for capicola. It's also utilized for smoking, for pulled pork, which makes a wonderful pulled pork dish. The Chinese like to use this for a lot of their dishes as well, for their for cubing. This is what we call a skirt right here. And for most of our customers, I would say about 95% of our customers want that off.
Okay.
And this is what we call the cap of the CT, and we're going to take that off.
Here's my Coca-Cola.
And then here's your capicola.
Beautiful.
And then you have your what they call an atlas bone right inside here that you always have to make sure is not in there. And then we always stick our finger in there to make sure there's no atlas bone in there. So there's your capicola.
Nice.
Wow.
This is going to be about a 3-pound piece. And anytime you're doing any type of dry curing, you lose about 30% of your weight. So you want to make sure you have a full piece. And the only other thing that we'll trim off here is the underside. We'll just take a little bit of that fat off.
And this was
Hot from the kettle.
You got it. Good
Okay.
job.